There are mainly three differences between the Tachi and katana. Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. Yes, I know, you love katanas too, right? The real katanas are of course beautiful pieces of art, and the ones that appear in anime and manga are super cool. But some katanas, for example, that are used in the Monster Hunter franchise are called Tachi, but they look just like katanas. So how are they different? Today, as a katana sword trainee and otaku, I will explain the history of Japanese swords and the three main differences between katana and tachi. In the latter half of the video and in the Omake talk, I will also briefly introduce the 5 other Japanese swords and about nodachi and odachi too. それでは本日も参りましょう. I like to use the heavy bogan, by the way. So, let's get to today's main topic right away. What are the differences between katana and tachi? Because the word katana can refer to all kinds of Japanese swords in general, let's call it by its official name, Uchi-katana here. There are mainly 3 differences between the tachi and katana. 1. When they were used. 2. How long and curved they are. 3. How they're equipped and decorated. Number 1. When they were used. The tachi was first born in the latter half of the Heian era, and the Uchi-katana was born afterwards, at the beginning of the Muromachi era. The tachi is a type of katana that is meant to be used on horseback, while the Uchi-katana is mainly used for battle on foot. As the battle style of the samurais changed from fighting one-on-one on horses to a group of soldiers fighting on land, the tachi was replaced with the Uchi-katana as the main sword weapon for the samurais. However, regardless of the era, when the samurais fought in war, their main weapons were bows and arrows. So the katana was always thought of as a sub-weapon, used in close combat or when they were out of arrows. In the peaceful Edo period that lasted for 265 years, it was determined by law that the samurais must carry 2 swords, the Uchi-katana and Wakizashi, as a symbol of a man in the samurai class. Number 2. How long and curved they are. The tachi and Uchi-katana are both longer than 2 shaku, but regularly the tachi is longer and more curved than the Uchi-katana. This is because, again, they were used in different situations. As explained earlier, the tachi was used on horseback, so it needed to be longer in order to reach the opponent, and more curved to be easily drawn with one hand. On the other hand, the Uchi-katana was used on land, so it became shorter to make it lighter and less curved. There were even some tachi that were shortened to a size of a Uchi-katana to be used in the new battle style. Number 3. How they're equipped and decorated. The tachi was hung from your waist using special equipment, with a sharp edge downwards, while the Uchi-katana was slided through the belt of the kimono, with a sharp edge upwards. This is because if the tachi was equipped with the sharp side upwards, the metal end of the sheath will hit the horse he is riding, making it impossible to control the horse. However, this wasn't the case with the Uchi-katanas used on land, so they kept the sharp edge upwards so it'd be easier to use in battle. By the way, this rule applies when these swords are decorated too. So if you see a katana with the sharp side downwards, it is a tachi, and the other way around, it is an Uchi-katana. The name of the swordsmith or the sword itself should be engraved on the side that it can be seen when decorated. So the right side for the tachi and the left side for the Uchi-katana. So now that you understand the three main differences between Tachi and Uchi-katana, let me briefly talk about how the 5 other types of katanas come into the story. However, please understand that this classification is just one example. These are the 7 different types of katana in the order of their appearance in history. 1. Chokuto. 2. Tachi. 3. Naginata. 4. Tanto. 5. Uchi-katana. 6. Wakizashi. 7. Yari. First of all, the oldest type of sword used before the Heian era is called the chokuto, a straight sword with no curves. Next is the Tachi that appeared in the latter half of the Heian era. The chokuto was used to stab, but because the Tachi was curved, it began to be used to slash. The Naginata appeared in the Heian era too. A Naginata is a weapon with a long handle and a curved blade at its tip. But it became one of the main weapons used on the battlefield during the Muromachi era. Next, the Tanto was born in the Kamakura era. The mainly used Tachi and Naginata were too long for close combat, so the Tanto was invented to pierce through the gaps of the armor. The Wakizashi, Uchi-katana, and Yari all appeared in the Muromachi era. The Wakizashi, a short sword slightly longer than the Tanto, was used as a second sword together with the Tachi or Uchi-katana. The Yari is a spear that was invented due to the change of the battle style. The Naginata is a similar long-range sword, but it was meant to swing around and fight with. But once the samurais started to fight in groups, this style was inconvenient, because otherwise you'll be slashing all of your friends fighting beside you. So the Yari used to stab was developed. Then lastly, today's conclusion. There are 3 main differences between the Uchi-katana and the Tachi. Number 1. When they were used. The Tachi was born in the Heian era, while the Uchi-katana was born afterwards in the Muromachi era. Number 2. How long and curved they are. The Tachi is longer and has a tighter curve than the Uchi-katana because it was used on horseback. Number 3. How they are equipped and decorated. The Tachi was equipped with special tools with a sharp edge downwards, while Uchi-katana was held through the belt of the kimono with the sharp edge upwards. This rule applies when these katanas are decorated too. There are 7 types of Japanese swords. 1. Chokuto. 2. Tachi. 3. Naginata. 4. Tanto. 5. Uchi-katana. 6. Wakizashi. 7. Yari. They were developed due to the change of how samurais fought in battle. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you learned something new about the history and culture about Japanese katanas, please hit the like button to let me know. And my goal is to achieve 100,000 subscribers by January 2022, so your help would mean a lot. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. どうもありがとうございました。Once again, thank you very much for watching this video and welcome to the Omake talk. So as I promised in the very beginning, I like to talk a little bit about the Odachi and nodachi too. So first of all, the Odachi and nodachi, they're both very famous terms to represent a kind of katana, but they're actually the same. Odachi and nodachi represent the same kind of katana. So we usually say Odachi more. O means big, so a big tachi, yes, very simple. As I explained in the video, the Uchi-katana and the tachi were both longer than 2 shaku, which means it's longer than 60.6 centimeters or 23.7 inches. The Odachi is actually must be longer than 86 centimeters, which is about 33 inches. So it's obviously very, very long. The Odachi, as far as I've done some research, it seems they existed from around the end of the Kamakura era, and was mainly used during the beginning of the Muromachi period. So that would be the time when the samurai still fought on horses one-on-one, when the Tachi and the Naginata, as I explained earlier, was mainly used. The reason why they started to use such long and huge swords, I mean, it looks a little bit inconvenient, right? It seems that it was mainly, of course, it was for being able to reach your opponent easier, of course, but also as a way to kind of, for the samurais to kind of show off your power, you know, like economical power, financial power, kind of. It seems it was mainly like that, yes. And the skills, of course, to make these katanas, these very special long katanas, were very difficult because they're super long, but you need to make them to be light and easy to handle. So they need to make the blades very thin. They need to carve a gutter through the blade to make it lighter. And of course, the people who can use it was very rare too. I mean, you would need a lot of skills and techniques and a lot of strength, muscle strength too, to be able to handle it. So Odachi is quite rare. Yes, and lastly, I found some really interesting information about the longest Odachi that still exists in Japan. It's a katana that is at Yamaguchi Prefecture, which is my last name actually. It's the prefecture on the west side of Hiroshima, my home city. There is a tachi called Haja no Ontachi, which is 345.5 centimeters long. 345.5 centimeters will be 11.33 feet. So, as you can see in the picture here, it's unbelievably long. Yeah, it's unbelievable how long it is. But this katana, though, it wasn't actually used in a battle, though. It was, katanas were originally a kind of weapon that can be dedicated to God as well, so this katana was meant for that as well. It was made at during the end of the Edo period, during the Westernization period, it seems. And yes, I think that's the story about the Odachi. And some series say about how you would handle it, you know, not on your waist but like on your back, but that seems differed on who used it. Some samurais would still hang them from their waist, some people had them on their backs. But it was very rare though to be able to handle such a big weapon. Yes. Alright, so everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if there's any other topics about katana that you'd like to know about, please let me know in the comments below. Alright, thank you so much. Goodbye.